Happening right now, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy holding a news conference in Trenton.
To reproductive freedom. And by the way, remember, prior to signing that law, a woman's reproductive freedom in New Jersey was entirely built on case law, and all of that case law was in turn built on Roe v. Wade. That would have been litigated and evaporated had we not signed that into law. Where we can, we will act to protect the rights and privacy of any woman who comes to New Jersey from states in which their rights are now eviscerated, if not entirely erased. I give my gratitude to the legislative leadership who recognized, as we did, the dire threat that this right-wing court posed and who worked with us to enshrine a woman's reproductive freedom in state law. In the darkness of this decision, I look forward to working collaboratively with them to further strengthen access to reproductive care and to protecting a woman's right to her own body. Unlike the United States Supreme Court, New Jersey will always stand on the side of our women. We will never stand between them and their doctors. So on to another outrage from this week. Good morning again. With me to my left is the Acting Attorney General, Matt Plotkin, and to my right, State Police Superintendent Colonel Pat Callahan. We have a lot of team members here, but I want to give a particular shout out to Chief Counsel Parimal Garg. Yesterday, again, the right-wing majority, which currently controls the U.S. Supreme Court, ruled that states like New Jersey, who believe that careful regulation of firearms makes for safer communities, God forbid, right? We can no longer control our own destinies. The right-wing majority ruled for the first time in our nation's history that individuals have a general right to carry firearms in public, not just in their homes, for self-defense. To be clear, this decision will not make us safer. Allowing ordinary citizens to carry concealed weapons into stores and malls, on mass transit, in daycare centers and hospitals, in polling places, or in bars and restaurants does not make us safer. And it does not make our police, Pat, as I know you agree, safer as they do their jobs. A right to carry a concealed weapon is, in actuality, a recipe for tragedy. Moreover, it is not in line with our long-standing New Jersey values, values which have always supported the Second Amendment through carefully crafted and equally as carefully enforced laws to ensure that guns do not needlessly proliferate in our communities. This decision runs roughshod over those values. The right-wing majority has made its decision. As tragic and misguided as it was, we must live with it. That's how it works in our constitutional system. But that will not stop us from doing everything in our power to protect our communities and our residents consistent with this opinion. As long as I am governor, I will never stop fighting for your right to be safe from gun violence. And I will never stop fighting the despicable gun lobby that puts its own profits above American lives. So today, in just a few minutes, I'm signing an executive order directing all state departments and agencies to review all statutes, rules, and regulations pertaining to them to determine what steps they can administratively take to prevent gun violence. This includes the potential or the ability to designate certain areas as gun-free, as well as their authority to regulate how firearms are carried, transported, or conveyed. Further, while the Supreme Court may have dispensed with common sense, it did affirm the long-standing rules that have prohibited the carrying of firearms in certain sensitive locations such as schools and government buildings. Because New Jersey has had very strict limits on carrying firearms in public until this opinion, we have very few places where the carrying of firearms is prohibited by law. Going forward, this is no longer tenable. I look forward to working with my legislative partners, to whom we have already, as you can imagine, reached out and had constructive conversations, to put legislation on my desk to expand the number and types of places where firearms cannot be carried. And on that list would be the following: locations where there will be a high density of people, including stadiums and arenas, amusement parks, bars and restaurants where alcohol is served, and public transit, among others. Secondly, locations with inherently vulnerable populations, such as daycare and child care facilities, hospitals and other healthcare centers, and long-term care facilities and nursing homes. And finally, buildings where important governmental or First Amendment protected activities take place, including government buildings and other locations where governmental bodies may meet, polling places, courthouses, police stations, and any places where demonstrations and protests or licensed gatherings may occur. This legislation should also set a default rule that firearms cannot be carried onto private property unless the property owner expressly communicates their permission, whether that's a shopping mall or a supermarket or a private home or a house of worship, whatever it might be, in terms of what that private property looks like. That will protect homeowners and businesses who do not want firearms to proliferate in their homes and stores while fully respecting everyone's private property rights. Under current law, certain New Jersey residents are categorically disqualified from carrying handguns, including those, not surprisingly, with criminal convictions or subject to certain types of restraining orders. We will also look to see if that list can be strengthened. I am grateful to the legislature's for the legislature's commitment to combating gun violence. Just this week, both the Assembly and the Senate advanced a number of common-sense gun safety measures in my Gun Safety 3.0 package, including requirements for training and limitations on certain dangerous weapons.